The Lakers are purely dominant. The Lakers took care of business again, beating the Timberwolves 111-102. Another win, another strong performance, and the stats tell the whole story. This team is rolling, and the numbers are backing it up. LeBron was on another level. He dropped 33 points, pulled down 17 rebounds, and dished out 6 assists. That's not even counting the steal and block he threw in for good measure. He's been on a mission lately, and the records just keep piling up. He became the first 40-year-old in NBA history to score at least 25 points in 5 straight games. That's legendary. Nobody's ever done it, and he's out here making it look routine. Austin Reeves came through in a big way. 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. That's the kind of all-around impact they need from him. He wasn't just scoring. He was setting guys up and making plays all over the floor. And on top of that, he snatched 2 steals, making sure the Timberwolves had a hard time getting comfortable. His energy on both ends was exactly what they needed. Luka is fitting in perfectly with this squad. He put up 21 points, grabbed 13 rebounds, and handed out 5 assists. The Lakers needed size, they needed rebounding, and they needed another playmaker. He's bringing all of that. He's now 4-2 in his games with the Lakers, and it's clear he's making a difference. Since the trade, this team has won 8 out of 10 games. That's no fluke. They've found their rhythm, and he's been a huge part of it. Jackson Hayes gave them a strong presence inside. He finished with 10 points, 7 rebounds, a steal, and a block. He's not just out there to grab stats. He's doing the dirty work. He's crashing the glass, protecting the rim, and giving them a spark whenever he's on the floor. The Lakers don't need him to drop 20 a night. They just need him to be active and bring that energy. That's exactly what he did. Jordan Goodwin gave them solid minutes off the bench. He scored 7 points, grabbed a rebound, dished out an assist, and picked up 2 steals. He's one of those guys who makes an impact without needing a ton of shots. He was active on defense, got his hands on the ball, and made things happen. Every little contribution adds up, and he made sure his minutes mattered. Rui had 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists before leaving the game with an injury. Hopefully it's nothing serious because they need him out there. He's been giving them valuable minutes and providing an extra scoring option. Anytime a guy goes down, it's a concern. But if he's healthy, he'll keep being a key piece for them. Dorian Finney-Smith didn't put up big numbers, but he still contributed. 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal. It doesn't always show up in the box score, but having guys who do the little things is important. He played his role and made sure he gave them quality minutes. This Lakers team is locked in. The stats tell the story. They're winning, they're playing together, and different guys are stepping up every night. It's no secret why they've been so successful since the trade. They're getting production across the board. They're playing with confidence, and the chemistry is building. If they keep this up, they're going to be a real problem for whoever's in their way. I want to talk about why the Lakers have been so dominant since getting Luka, though. I mean, think about every side of the ball. Scoring, rebounding, passing, teamwork, usage, literally everything. Let's start by talking about Luka's and scoring. Luka's only been on the Lakers for a few games, but the impact he's having on their scoring is already impossible to ignore. He's putting up 26.4 points per game, ranking above 98% of players, and his true shooting percentage sits at 57.3. That efficiency is forcing defenses to completely change how they guard the Lakers, and it's opening up everything for everyone else. LeBron is still getting his buckets, averaging 24.7 points per game, ranking ahead of 96% of players, but his shots are looking easier. His effective field goal percentage is 58.2, and his true shooting is at 60.9, making him the most efficient high-volume scorer on the team. And that's because Luka's gravity is shifting defenders away from him. The attention Luka draws means LeBron's getting better quality shots, taking fewer contested looks, and maximizing his scoring opportunities. And it's not just LeBron. Rui is seeing the difference too. He's putting up 13.5 points per game, sitting ahead of 79% of players. But here's the key. His effective field goal percentage is 59.2, and his true shooting is 61.3. That's elite efficiency, and it's happening because Luka's presence is creating open lanes and better spacing. Luka's ability to collapse the defense means Rui is finding himself in the right spots without having to force tough shots. He's scoring 1.2 points per shot attempt, the same efficiency as LeBron, proving just how valuable Luka's playmaking has been. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, the Lakers. Austin Reeves is another one thriving with Luka in the lineup. He's putting up 19.2 points per game, ranking above 90% of players. But look at the efficiency. His effective field goal percentage is 53.8, and his true shooting percentage is 59.7. He's right there with Rui in terms of scoring efficiency, hitting 1.2 points per attempt. That's not a coincidence. Luka's vision is giving Reeves open catch and shoot opportunities, and defenses can't afford to collapse on him like before. Instead of having to create his own shots as often, he's getting to his spots and letting Luka find him. Now, if you want efficiency, Jackson Hayes is taking things to another level. He's only averaging 6 points per game, but that number doesn't even tell the full story. His effective field goal percentage is a ridiculous 70.2, and his true shooting percentage is 71.6. That puts him ahead of 97% of players. He's scoring an absurd 1.4 points per shot attempt, which is higher than anyone else on the roster. And that's all because of Luka. With Luka drawing double teams, Hayes is getting nothing but easy lobs and dump-off passes. He doesn't have to force anything. He's just catching and finishing. But while Hayes is thriving off Luka's passing, Jared Vanderbilt is still working to find his rhythm. He's putting up just 3.3 points per game, sitting ahead of 23% of players. His effective field goal percentage is 52.9, and his true shooting percentage is 51.3. Those numbers aren't terrible, but they're the lowest on the team. The difference is that he's not a volume shooter, so Luka's presence hasn't unlocked his scoring yet. He's scoring 1.1 points per shot attempt, and with Luka drawing defenders away from him, there's potential for that to climb if he starts hitting the open looks he's getting. Jordan Goodwin, on the other hand, is taking full advantage of Luka's impact. He's averaging 6 points per game, sitting ahead of 44% of players. But just like Hayes, his efficiency is what stands out. His effective field goal percentage is 60.7, and his true shooting percentage is 62.1. He's right there with Rui and Reeves, scoring 1.2 points per shot attempt, and that's all because Luka is making the game easier for him. Instead of forcing shots, he's getting clean, high percentage looks and knocking them down at a rate well above league average. Dalton Connect is another name that's quietly benefiting from Luka's arrival. He's putting up 8.9 points per game, which ranks higher than 60% of players. His effective field goal percentage is 56.5, and his true shooting percentage is 58.7, which means he's right behind Reeves in overall scoring efficiency. He's also scoring 1.2 points per attempt, just like Rui, Reeves, and Goodwin. That's no accident. Luka's playmaking is letting him find open looks, and he's taking advantage of them. And here's what's crazy. Every single one of these efficiency jumps is happening because Luka is taking so much attention away from his teammates. Defenses are forced to collapse on him every time he drives, and the result is a roster full of guys getting easier buckets than before. LeBron's getting to his spots with less resistance. Rui's catching the ball in rhythm instead of forcing tough shots. Reeves is hitting threes without defenders draped all over him. Hayes is getting free runs to the rim. And guys like Goodwin and Connect are suddenly looking like some of the most efficient scorers on the team. Luka's own numbers prove just how much he's doing for this team. His 26.4 points per game rank ahead of 98% of players. His true shooting percentage of 57.3 is better than more than half the league. And he's scoring 1.1 points per attempt while taking 20.4 shots a night. The sheer volume of his scoring is opening up the floor for everyone else. His presence forces defenses to collapse. His passing finds the open man, and his scoring efficiency ensures that even when he takes over, he's doing it at a rate that doesn't waste possessions. Even guys who aren't shooting as much are seeing the benefits. Vanderbilt's scoring hasn't jumped, but he's getting cleaner looks than before. Goodwin is finding himself in the right spots more often. Hayes is scoring at an all-time efficient rate just from running the floor and catching lobs. And Rui, Reeves, and Connect are all thriving as off-ball scorers because Luka is letting them play to their strengths instead of forcing bad shots. This isn't just one player putting up big numbers, it's one player completely transforming how an entire team scores. The Lakers' offense has shifted in a way that makes everyone more efficient, and Luka's ability to create for himself and others is the biggest reason why. But a reason he transforms everything is because of the passing. Luka's passing is changing everything for the Lakers. His assist percentage is sitting at 33.77, meaning he's assisting on over a third of the team's made shots while he's on the floor. That kind of playmaking instantly shifts how the offense runs. And with a passer like LeBron next to him, who has an even higher assist percentage at 42.43, this team is generating more easy buckets than ever. Between the two of them, they're creating nearly 40 points per game just from assists alone. Luka is assisting on 18.6 points per game, while LeBron is slightly ahead at 20.7. That means nearly half of the Lakers' points are coming directly from these two, setting up their teammates. And that's where guys like Reeves, Rui, and Connect come in. Reeves has been a secondary playmaker in his own right, averaging 6.1 assists per game and assisting on 25.35% of the team's field goals. That's a massive number for someone who isn't even the primary ball handler. His ability to take pressure off Luka and LeBron is a game changer because it means the Lakers don't have to rely on just one player to create shots for others. When Luka gets doubled, he can swing it to Reeves, who can then set up a teammate for an open look. It's a constant cycle of ball movement that's creating one of the most efficient offenses in the league. Rui, on the other hand, isn't much of a playmaker, but he doesn't need to be with Luka and LeBron running the show. His assist percentage sits at just 6.63, and he's averaging only 1.5 assists per game, but that just means he's in a perfect position to benefit from Luka's passing. Instead of worrying about creating for others, he can focus on what he does best, finding open spots and knocking down shots. And with Luka assisting on nearly 19 points per game, those easy looks are coming more often than ever. Goodwin and Connect are in similar roles. Neither is tasked with much playmaking, but they don't need to be. Goodwin is assisting on just 7.04% of the team's field goals, while Connect is even lower at 6.05. That means their job is simple. Get open, let Luka and LeBron do the work, and be ready to finish. And that's exactly what's happening. With Luka's ability to collapse the defense and kick it out to shooters, players like Connect are getting cleaner looks than they ever would in a more stagnant offense. And the most underrated part of all this, Luka is doing all of this while keeping his turnover rate impressively low. His turnover percentage is just 9.78, meaning he's only losing the ball on a small percentage of his possessions. That's lower than LeBron's 11.91, Reeves's 9.94, and Goodwin's 10.53. For someone handling the ball as much as Luka, that level of efficiency is ridiculous. LeBron's turnovers are slightly higher, but that's expected when you're creating over 20 points per game through assists. And even with that, he's still keeping his turnover percentage lower than a lot of primary ball handlers around the league. The fact that the Lakers have two elite level playmakers who can generate this much offense without giving the ball away constantly is a massive advantage. Then you look at someone like Rui, who's taking care of the ball at an elite level. His turnover percentage is just 6.71, which is one of the lowest on the team. That's because he's not being asked to create. He's simply playing off of Luka and LeBron, finding his spots, and capitalizing on the opportunities they create. The same goes for Connect, whose turnover percentage is an insanely low 5.49. That's one of the best marks on the team, proving just how much of a catch-and-shoot threat he's becoming in this offense. Goodwin's turnover percentage is slightly higher than Rui, and Connect at 10.53, but that's expected since he's still figuring out his role. He's not a high-volume playmaker, but when he does have the ball in his hands, he's making the right reads more often than not. His assist percentage might be low, but with Luka and LeBron handling most of the creation, all he has to do is make simple plays and take care of the ball, which he's doing at a solid rate. Reeves is balancing both scoring and playmaking, which is why his numbers sit right in the middle. His turnover percentage of 9.94 is higher than the pure off-ball guys, but lower than the primary facilitators like Luka and LeBron. That shows he's handling a good chunk of the playmaking load while still being careful with the ball. With Luka assisting on nearly 19 points per game, Reeves doesn't have to force tough passes. He can let the offense flow naturally and pick his spots. And that's what makes this Lakers offense so dangerous. Luka's presence is making life easier for everyone. LeBron doesn't have to do all the playmaking himself anymore. Reeves is thriving as a secondary creator. Rui, Connect, and Goodwin are benefiting from wide open looks without worrying about making plays for others. And even though Luka is handling the ball a ton, he's keeping his turnover rate lower than most high-usage players in the league. This isn't just one guy racking up assists. It's an entire system being built around Luka's ability to create for others. Every single teammate is benefiting from his passing, whether they're handling the ball or simply finishing plays. And the more they play together, the more these numbers will continue climbing. But all basketball fans know how great of a rebounder Luka is too. Luka's rebounding is completely shifting how the Lakers control possessions. He's pulling in 8.4 rebounds per game, ranking ahead of 83% of players, and his defensive rebound percentage sits at a massive 20.64. That means he's securing over a fifth of all available defensive rebounds while he's on the floor, giving the Lakers a reliable presence on the glass every single night. And that's huge because it's not just about Luka grabbing boards. It's about how his rebounding is affecting the rest of the team. With Luka handling so many defensive rebounds, LeBron can conserve more energy while still dominating the glass in his own way. He's averaging 7.8 rebounds per game, ranking ahead of 81% of players, and his defensive rebound percentage sits at 19.22. That's right behind Luka, showing that between the two of them, the Lakers have one of the strongest rebounding backcourts in the league. And that balance is what's making this team so effective. Luka's ability to control the glass means LeBron doesn't have to battle for every single board like he used to. But when he does, he's still pulling down 6.9 defensive rebounds per game. And this trickles down to everyone else on the roster. Rui has been benefiting from Luka's presence in a huge way. He's putting up 5.3 rebounds per game, which ranks ahead of 56% of players. But his offensive rebounding is where he's really thriving. He's grabbing 1.5 offensive rebounds per game, giving him an offensive rebound percentage of 4.73. That's better than both Luka and LeBron, proving that Luka's presence is freeing up Rui to focus on attacking the glass without worrying about securing defensive boards. Instead of having to track back and help with rebounding responsibilities, he can stay aggressive, crash the offensive glass, and give the Lakers extra possessions. The same thing is happening with Jackson Hayes. He's also averaging 4.3 rebounds per game, but just like Rui, it's his offensive rebounding that stands out. He's pulling in 1.3 offensive rebounds per game, and his offensive rebound percentage sits at an insane 7.48. That's higher than 81% of players, proving just how much of an impact he's making in second chance situations. Luka's ability to control the defensive glass allows Hayes to do what he does best: crash the boards and secure easy putbacks. When Luka and LeBron are grabbing defensive rebounds, Hayes is already moving toward the rim, putting himself in position to capitalize on any missed shots. Jordan Goodwin is taking advantage of this shift as well. He's averaging 4 rebounds per game, which might not seem like a huge number, but when you break it down, his offensive rebounding is off the charts. He's pulling in 1.5 offensive rebounds per game, and his offensive rebound percentage is a ridiculous 8.74. That's the highest of anyone on the team. And again, that's happening because Luka is allowing guys like Goodwin to be aggressive. Instead of worrying about defensive rebounding responsibilities, he can focus entirely on crashing the boards and securing second chance points. Then there's Austin Reeves, who's averaging 4.3 rebounds per game with 3.5 coming on the defensive end. His defensive rebound percentage sits at 9.5, which isn't as high as Luka or LeBron, but that's because he doesn't need to chase rebounds. Luka's presence means Reeves can get out in transition instead of staying back to fight for boards. That's a massive advantage because it allows the Lakers to push the pace without sacrificing rebounding. Jared Vanderbilt is in a similar spot. His rebounding numbers aren't as high as some of his teammates, but he's still playing his role perfectly. He's averaging 3.3 rebounds per game, with his defensive rebound percentage at 11.07. While he's not a primary rebounder, Luka's presence means he doesn't have to be. Instead, he can focus on playing defense, disrupting passing lanes, and making hustle plays while Luka and LeBron handle the glass. This gives the Lakers more flexibility and lets Vanderbilt play to his strengths, rather than being forced into a role where he's battling for rebounds against bigger players. And this is exactly why Luka's rebounding is so important. He's not just pulling in 8.4 rebounds per game, he's shifting the entire way the Lakers approach rebounding as a team. LeBron doesn't have to exert as much energy fighting for boards, but when he does, he's still securing nearly 7 per game. Rui and Hayes are thriving as offensive rebounders, grabbing second chance opportunities at elite rates. Goodwin is crashing the boards harder than ever, leading the team in offensive rebound percentage. And guys like Reeves and Vanderbilt are able to focus on their roles instead of worrying about rebounding responsibilities. But Luka's impact isn't just about how many rebounds he's grabbing, it's about how efficiently he's doing it. His defensive rebound percentage of 20.64 is one of the best marks among all guards in the league, proving that he's not just getting lucky with loose ball rebounds, he's actively tracking down missed shots and securing possessions for the Lakers. Meanwhile, his offensive rebound percentage is lower at 2.32, but that's because he's not being asked to crash the offensive glass. He's too busy orchestrating the offense. That balance is what makes him so dangerous. He's dominating the defensive glass while letting his teammates take advantage of second chance opportunities on the other end. And when you compare his numbers to LeBron, you can see just how well they complement each other. Luka is pulling in more total rebounds at 8.4 per game, but LeBron is slightly ahead in offensive rebounding at 0.9 per game, giving him an offensive rebound percentage of 2.74. That means while Luka is handling the defensive boards, LeBron is still making an impact by keeping possessions alive with second chance opportunities. And together, they're controlling the glass better than almost any duo in the league. Meanwhile, players like Rui, Hayes, and Goodwin are turning into elite offensive rebounders because of the space Luka is creating. Hayes' offensive rebound percentage of 7.48 is one of the best on the team, while Goodwin's 8.74 is the highest overall. And that's not happening by accident. Luka is drawing so much attention that these guys are getting easy putbacks and extra possessions simply by crashing the boards at the right time. Even players who aren't putting up crazy rebounding numbers are benefiting. Reeves isn't grabbing as many rebounds as some of his teammates, but Luka's presence means he doesn't have to. Instead, he can leak out in transition and get easy buckets while Luka secures the rebound and pushes the pace. Vanderbilt is in the same position. His numbers might not jump off the page, but his role is just as important. Because Luka is controlling the glass, Vanderbilt can focus on defending and making hustle plays rather than battling for rebounds against bigger players. This is why Luka's rebounding is so important. He's not just grabbing 8.4 boards per game, he's dictating how the Lakers rebound as a team. LeBron still gets his boards, but he doesn't have to do all the work himself. Rui, Hayes, and Goodwin are thriving as offensive rebounders, grabbing second chance points at insane rates. Reeves and Vanderbilt are focusing on their strengths instead of worrying about fighting for rebound. And with Luka pulling in 20% of all available defensive rebounds, the Lakers are dominating the glass in a way that makes their entire team more dangerous. But where Luka really shines is his teamwork. Luka's presence is completely transforming how the Lakers function as a team. His mixed teamwork ranking is higher than 94% of players. And that's not just an empty stat. It's the direct result of how much better the Lakers are when he's on the floor. His offensive rating is an incredible 120.4, which means when he's playing, the team is scoring at an elite level. But it's not just about offense. His defensive rating of 110.2 means that while he's helping put points on the board, he's also making sure the team isn't giving them right back. That balance is what gives him a net rating of plus 10.2, making him the most impactful player on the roster when it comes to winning basketball. LeBron, who's been the heart of this team for years, still brings plenty to the table, but the numbers show a clear shift with Luka's arrival. His offensive rating sits at 113.9, solid but well below Luka's, and his defensive rating is 114.6, giving him a net rating of negative 0.7. That means when LeBron is on the floor without Luka, the Lakers aren't consistently outscoring their opponents, but when the two are together, the numbers tell a different story. Luka's presence is elevating the entire offense, allowing LeBron to take on a different role, one where he doesn't have to carry every possession, but can instead take advantage of better spacing and higher quality shots. That effect is felt even more with guys like Rui and Austin Reeves. Rui's offensive rating is 115.7, and his defensive rating is 111.7. giving him a net rating of plus 4. That means when Rui is on the court with Luka, the Lakers are not just surviving, they're thriving. His mixed teamwork ranking of 82% shows that he's a player who benefits massively from being surrounded by strong playmakers. And Luka is the best possible teammate for someone like Rui, who doesn't need to dominate the ball to be effective. Luka's ability to control possessions, create space, and find open teammates is giving Rui more high percentage looks, and that's why his efficiency is so high. Reeves is another perfect example of Luka's impact on his teammates. His offensive rating is 117.2, one of the highest on the team, and his defensive rating is 112.4, giving him a net rating of plus 4.8. His mixed teamwork ranking is at 94%, the same as Luka's, showing that he's one of the most valuable complementary pieces in this system. When Luka is on the floor, Reeves doesn't have to create as much for himself. He can focus on moving off the ball, finding open spaces, and letting Luka set him up for easy buckets. And that's exactly what's happening. Then there's Jackson Hayes, who's benefiting in a different way. His offensive rating is 114.9, but his defensive rating is where he truly stands out at 109.6. That gives him a net rating of plus 5.3, one of the best on the team. His mixed teamwork ranking of 73% proves that he's playing winning basketball, and Luka's presence is a huge reason why. Instead of trying to create offense on his own, Hayes is thriving in a system where Luka's playmaking is putting him in the perfect spots. He's getting easy finishes at the rim, benefiting from Luka's ability to manipulate defenses and locking in on defense without having to worry about carrying an offensive load. Jared Vanderbilt's numbers tell an interesting story. His mixed teamwork ranking is just 34%, but his net rating is an incredible plus 9.6. That means even though he's not always putting up big individual numbers, when he's on the court, the team is significantly better. His offensive rating of 119.2 is one of the best on the roster, and his defensive rating of 109.6 is just as strong. The reason for that? Luka's presence. He's creating an offensive system that allows Vanderbilt to maximize his strengths, crashing the glass, playing high-energy defense, and making hustle plays without having to do too much on offense. Dalton Knecht, on the other hand, is still adjusting. His offensive rating of 114.8 is solid, but his defensive rating of 117.1 is dragging his net rating down to negative 2.4. His mixed teamwork ranking sits at 34%, showing that he hasn't quite found his fit yet. But here's where Luka makes the difference. As Knecht continues to learn how to play off Luka, his offensive efficiency will improve, and his defensive struggles will be less noticeable. Luka's ability to control the game means that role players like Knecht don't have to force anything. They can let the game come to them and focus on hitting open shots. And this is exactly why Luka's presence is so valuable. The Lakers' overall performance changes drastically when he's on the floor. His plus-minus numbers show that in 70.4% of games where he plays, the Lakers finish with a positive scoring margin. Compare that to LeBron, who sits at exactly 50%, and the impact becomes clear. The Lakers are simply a better team when Luka is on the court. The on-off numbers reinforce that even more. When Luka plays, the Lakers' point differential improves by plus 7.9 compared to when he's off the floor. That's a massive swing. Meanwhile, LeBron's on-off number is negative 2.4, showing that when he's on the court without Luka, the team struggles to outscore opponents. That's not an indictment of LeBron. It's proof of how Luka's presence completely changes how the Lakers function as a team. And that's exactly what makes Luka's impact so special. He's not just putting up big stats, he's elevating everyone around him. Rui's net rating is higher because Luka's playmaking is getting him better shots. Reeves' offensive rating is elite because Luka is setting him up in ideal situations. Hayes and Vanderbilt are thriving on defense because Luka is allowing them to focus on what they do best. Even players like Knecht, who are still figuring out their role, are in a position to succeed simply because Luka is structuring the game in a way that maximizes their strengths. This isn't just one player making an impact, it's one player completely transforming an entire team. Luka's offensive rating of 120.4 is setting the tone, and his defensive rating of 110.2 is proving that he's not just about scoring, he's about winning. His net rating of plus 10.2 is showing that when he's on the floor, the Lakers are playing at an elite level. Every part of this team is being shaped by Luka's presence. LeBron doesn't have to carry as much of the offensive load. Rui and Hayes are thriving as efficient, high-energy role players. Reeves is one of the most effective complementary guards in the league. Vanderbilt is making a massive impact in limited minutes. And even Knecht, despite his struggles, is in a position to improve simply by playing next to Luka. And the scary part, these numbers are only going to get better as they continue playing together. Luka isn't just a great individual player, he's a game changer who's making every single one of his teammates more effective. The Lakers aren't just adding a star, they're building a system around someone who makes everyone better. And that's exactly why this team is so dangerous moving forward. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.